So in Bitcoin, why it's so exciting, and I have a lot more Bitcoin than I do gold, certainly vol adjusted, I have 10 times as much. It's such a new asset, and it's like a virus that's just starting to spread, right? The fact that Larry Fink got orange pilled and believes in it is the single biggest thing that happened for it this year, just because he has such clout. BlackRock touches so many places, right? We're going to compete against them in the ETF. But think about it now, we've got Invesco with us, BlackRock, Wisdom Tree, Fidelity. Pretty soon you're going to have 9 sales forces selling the Bitcoin story. So the adoption of this idea that Bitcoin is a store of value is going straight up. The SEC, I think, will approve this in the next 10 days, 2 weeks. Jan 10th is kind of a cutoff date because of a lawsuit they had with Grayscale. It looks like there's not going to be in-kind distribution, which is not the best thing. You know, it'll be more interesting from a trading perspective, but every other ETF seems to have in-kind. And so Gensler's still trying to gum up the works a little bit. I would argue that Bitcoin, which is $1 trillion asset after, 14 years, might be the single greatest brand ever created, right? We created a 14, Tesla's close and Apple's up there. We created in 14 years, $1 trillion brand that doesn't have a CEO, that's owned by no one, that's universally known. It's, it's marketing genius. And if you look at Apple from its 14th year to its 30th year, I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin takes a bigger trajectory. Things spread virally, but it doesn't happen overnight.
Mike Novogratz is a billionaire and is the CEO of Galaxy Digital. He has decades of experience in financial markets, and he believes in all his career, Bitcoin is the biggest opportunity he's ever seen. Today, he is giving us an update on the crypto market, the Bitcoin ETF, and why BlackRock is playing a much bigger role in 2024 than any other institutional investor. Novogratz believes that the coming bull run will be larger than anything we've seen in the past. He argues the SEC's imminent approval of the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF is signaling a massive surge of capital about to come into the space. He points out that at just a 1% investment from institutions will open the floodgate to hundreds of billions of dollars of capital, sending Bitcoin parabolic. He also believes Bitcoin is going to increase by somewhere in the range of 400% due to the ETF. This equates to a price target of somewhere close to $150,000 per Bitcoin at some point in 2024. Make sure to stick around to the end of the video where Novogratz explains why Bitcoin is the greatest brand created in human history and why it's going to exponentially spread like a virus. Also guys, only a small percentage of my viewers are actually subscribed. If you enjoy finance content, consider subscribing or liking the video. It's free and you can always change your mind. Now here's Mike Novogratz with his 2024 Bitcoin outlook.
I call it economic stewardship. I always say Bitcoin is a report card on good economic stewardship. If we took our deficit from our spending from 25% to 20% and our deficit from 6% to 0, Bitcoin would be lower, not higher. And gold would be lower, not higher. And so I don't see our government, the European governments, almost any government getting away from what I call populism. And Satoshi saw that when he wrote the Bitcoin white paper. The white paper was literally like a cure to populism. And that's what the core of Bitcoin is. It's a social construct between two people that says, I'm going to put my hard-earned savings in this system, this community of people who are governed by this constitution in a fixed supply currency. There's a macro backdrop and there's an adoption backdrop, right? So in Bitcoin, why it's so exciting, and I have a lot more Bitcoin than I do gold, certainly vol adjusted, I have 10 times as much. It's such a new asset. And it's like a virus that's just starting to spread, right? The fact that Larry Fink got orange pilled and believes in it is the single biggest thing that happened for it this year, just because he has such clout. BlackRock touches so many places, right? We're going to compete against them in the ETF. But think about it now, we've got Invesco with us, BlackRock, Wisdom Tree, Fidelity. Pretty soon you're going to have 9 sales forces selling the Bitcoin story. So the adoption of this idea that Bitcoin is a store of value is going straight up. What I think people miss, and I talked a lot about this in 2017 when we had our first mania, is that crypto was really the first ever global speculative mania. We never had a global market. You had a couple stocks that were traded globally, but if you go back and you look at the 99 internet bubble, like you didn't have anyone in Korea participating, anyone in India participating, anyone in Russia participating, anyone in Africa participating. Crypto is global. And just like I'm telling the Bitcoin story on CNBC and Bloomberg and on podcasts here in New York, there's someone in a village in Indonesia telling that story. And the viral nature of 8 billion people getting more converts every day is really hard to stop. The other piece of this is Bitcoin exists within a movement called, you can call it crypto or decentralization. And that movement touches people in a way because it feels like it's a revolution. It's a revolution of saying, I want to cut out the middleman. I want to trust in myself. I want to have peer-to-peer transaction. I want to have more efficiency, equal access. So there's this, I think, progressive, but it's like it's half progressive, half libertarian ethos that people buy into. And so you've seen it in the Ethereum community or in all these other communities that have showed up. What's been disappointing is outside of payments, not in the US, but out in Mideast, Africa, Latin America, crypto is used a lot for payments, stable coins mostly. The core next mission, the Web3 mission, the decentralized trading, the decentralized rideshare, the decentralized ticketing, hasn't really shown up yet. Some green shoots. It's taking longer than I thought for those projects to get scale. When I went to 69,000, I remember people were like, well, then it started going down. They're like, oh, it's supposed to be an inflation hedge. I was like, dudes, you bought it at 6,000 18 months ago.
Right.
We got to 69,000 because we were worried about inflation. Now Chairman Powell took out a big hammer and he is nailing us on the head with it. And it's supposed to go down because he's trying to stop inflation. The fraud of Sam Fried and Alex Machinsky and the guys from Three Arrows Capital, this group of either really bad actors or dumb actors or people that didn't understand risk or malicious intent actors really hit us hard, because if crypto was about decentralizing trust, right, taking trust away from Jamie Dimon and having it into a community, well, we had this weird hybrid of centralized crypto run by a bunch of idiots and bad actors. And so the whole space took a real, I would argue that Bitcoin, which is $1 trillion asset after 14 years, might be the single greatest brand ever created. Right? We created Tesla's close and Apple's up there. We created in 14 years, $1 trillion brand that doesn't have a CEO, that's owned by no one, that's universally known. It's, it's marketing genius. And if you look at Apple from its 14th year to its 30th year, I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin takes a bigger trajectory. Things spread virally, but it doesn't happen overnight. What Satoshi came up with in that white paper, in order to create Bitcoin, he had to create the first private property in the digital world. Before Satoshi, there was no private property on the internet. And that's hard to kind of comprehend what it means. It means that you send me a great looking picture of this guy and I could control, copy, paste and send 10,000 out. So it has no value. But now, because it can exist on a blockchain, it can be verified, it can have value. So from the simple example of NFTs to your healthcare records to anything transmitted digitally, it can have value. So I can transmit value. And that's the part of Satoshi's revolution that still needs to sprout. And some of that will be built on Bitcoin. Most of it won't be. It'll be built on Ethereum and Solana and some other series of chains that collectively is one giant shared database that processes and authenticates your information and holds it. And people have to believe in that. They have to learn to trust that trust machine, because it is a trust machine. And so that process is taking longer. I remember talking to to Van Jones, who's a friend of mine. He got a $100 million grant from Jeff Bezos to spend on something cool in philanthropy. And he thought about our voting and how broken our trust in voting is. He was like, oh my God, voting on the blockchain. So he called me up and I was like, maybe we should start with voting for American Idol candidates on the blockchain. Well, just to teach people how this stuff works, because it's a little hocus pocus and we need to get it. It's not, if you're a scientist, you put your mind to it, you can really understand it. But to the average person, we've got to get it to where they believe it, but it becomes the back of the TV.
Right.
No one cares about how data is authenticated and stored. Retail is surprisingly invested and continues to invest. We have one client, so we don't deal with retail direct, but we deal with the institutional clients that deal with them. And so all the platform companies, the PayPals, the Squares, those of the world who have these wallets that collect money, and we do some of the trading for some of those companies. And there's one alone that between what they do with us and their two other trading counterparties buys more Bitcoin every day than is mined. So the whole mining supply is swallowed up by one app in the US every day. That's the global mining supply. And so one of the reasons I think Bitcoin has a shot at parabolic is this. There are 8 billion people out there, a couple, 250 million people own a Bitcoin or some piece of a Bitcoin. As that goes a little more viral, those small checks add up immensely. We are seeing institutions come in. We're seeing hedge funds buy with our trading desk for the first time in a long time, the last couple months. I talked to one of my friends who's got a big decentralized platform. He said he saw volume double and then double again in the last 2 months. And so that's more retail online. Most institutions are still buying futures because it's simpler and they can call their prime broker and they will switch to the ETF. I think the ETF will have a dominant amount of liquidity in Bitcoin, and then we'll have an Ethereum one. And that'll make it so much easier for the institutional capital to come in.
So there's Mike Novogratz on the potential of Bitcoin and the transformative power of cryptocurrency in the financial markets. His perspective, shaped by decades of experience, has highlighted the unprecedented opportunities that Bitcoin presents, especially with the anticipated approval of the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF. Novogratz's prediction of a bull run bigger than anything we've seen before, coupled with his belief in Bitcoin's potential 400% increase and a target price of close to $150,000, sets a thrilling stage for 2024. But perhaps the most compelling in his view of Bitcoin is that it's the greatest brand in human history, poised to spread exponentially. If this discussion has piqued your interest and you're keen on staying at the forefront of finance content, consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video. Anyway guys, hope you all enjoyed today's video and that provided you with some value. I'll see you all in the next one, and as always, all the best.